Cover crops can springboard cash crops off to a successful year. Yet, herbicides applied to previous cash crops can carry over and hurt stands of cover crops. Here are some things to keep in mind about herbicide carryover from preceding cash crops for this segment of Weeds Playbook from Liz Stahl, University of Minnesota Extension Educator.
The carryover concerns of herbicides, that's a big issue really, with cover crops, especially when you're trying to integrate cover crops in a corn soybean system. One of the first questions I always ask producers about that too is when they're getting into cover crops or planting cover crops, are they planning to graze that cover crop or use it for feed or forage? Because that is a great way to pencil out cover crops. We know that really helps us, the bottom line and economics to get that benefit. But if you are grazing it or using it for feed or forage, you're treating that cover crop as a crop. So that means that you have to be following what it says on those herbicide labels for rotational restrictions. And that would be like the time period between applying that herbicide and planting the cover crop. Now, if you're just planting the cover crop for soil health benefits, now you have more options because you're not treating that cover crop as a quote-unquote crop. So you can really do what you want. You're on your own, if you have injury, but some things to think about. Overall in general, like a grass herbicide, has higher potential to affect a grass cover crop. A broadleaf herbicide has more potential to affect a broadleaf cover crop. Those are just some things to think about. The labels can be guidance for you as well. Any product that has a longer residual, again, might have greater potential to affect a cover crop. The reduced rate of using a reduced rate of herbicide, that is one question that comes up a lot of times when I work with people, planting cover crops, and again, just cannot recommend that. We don't recommend that. There's a number of reasons for that. Of course, one thing, you still could get injury of the cover crop with the reduced rate. Also, you're probably not going to get as good a weed control. But one of the biggest factors too is that we know that that's a great way to select for herbicide-resistant weed populations. And we know that's been documented in the research. We can see that going on out in our, across the landscape. We have water hemp that's resistant in Minnesota. Other states have a lot more issues as well, and we're getting, multiple stack traits of resistance out in our weeds. And water hemp, again, is one of those that has ability to develop, or we can select for populations resistant to a lot of different chemistries. So reduced rates is a great way to select for a resistant population. So we don't recommend that for a number of reasons, even though I know the temptation's there, but just try to look for an effective herbicide that isn't as active on the cover crop that you're planting.
Herbicide carryover can threaten the stand of cover crops, but it's also important not to sacrifice weed control in cash crops during the previous year. For more information, check out Successful Farming Magazine's Weeds Playbook for more information about these and other weed management and agronomic topics.